Hello, everyone. Welcome to Life Stories Told with Love by She's Mom podcast series. Today we have our special guest, and I want to call her special guest because she's doing something which impressed me as a hobby or as I don't know, the second job. I don't know exactly, but she will tell us. Our guest now is Timea Marin, and she will tell us some about her life, her activities, what inspired her, and we hope that I hope personally that her story will inspire you, and you will start to do whatever you intended in your life to start. And as we all know, every time when we are dreaming about something and we believe in that something, we should start it as soon as possible based on the resources we have, and also with the help with our with the people around us. Okay, Timea, thank you. Thank you for joining us and welcome to our podcast. Could you tell us from where you are talking to us right now?
Hi, everybody. I'm very nice to meet you, and I'm very happy to be here with you today. I am talking right now with you from Brașov, Romania. It is the city where I was born in and where I'm based right now and where I'm also working from.
That's nice. Can you tell us, start to tell us a little bit about yourself in short, as a short story, who you are, what are you doing in general lines of course, and
Mhm.
what inspired you? I want to have a free discussion and give to the people the exact message we want to transmit. This means a story which is containing something to inspire them.
Yeah, sure. I can do that. First of all, I am a woman, I am a mother, I am a wife. I also have a regular 8 hours a day workplace. I am an account manager and the head of diversity, equity, and inclusion in an IT company. And what I actually do in my free time, and what is the project of, I don't know, my heartfelt project of the project of my soul, is the fact that I am running an NGO that is called Young Steps Kenya. It is an NGO that I have founded 1 year ago. And as the name says, its main aim is to support one school. It's called Madago Primary School in Kenya.
Wow.
Um, yeah. What inspired me, because you asked me what inspired me to do this. 1.5 years ago, we were on holiday together with my husband and with 10 other friends in Kenya. My husband and I, we are pretty big globetrotters and we like to see the world as much as possible. And for the first time in my life, I have visited a lot of continents, and I think over 50 countries by now. I don't know why, and I cannot really explain it, because everybody asks me, how do you explain the fact that you landed there and that is the place that told you something? I somehow had this strange feeling of belonging there, and felt all the time that I was there, I felt like, I don't know, like a part of me always said that I have to start to do something there. Um, so I came back to Romania after holidays, and it was very easy. The truth is that my background also helped me, because I studied cultural anthropology and gender studies and social politics. So somehow, after my studies, I was very deep into this subject. But as you probably can imagine, jobs in an NGO or similar things are not a job that you can live from very well.
That's true.
So it was always a dream of mine to come here, but it wasn't a priority. So last year I actually decided that it is time for me, that I can do it. I am, I don't know, mature enough professionally, life-wise enough to start doing this. So, as you said before, not so much thinking about the difficulties that could arise from this. I just decided together with my husband, okay, I'm going to do this. And he supported me throughout this. And I started step by step to found this NGO. The NGO is founded in Romania, which was the first difficult thing.
Yeah.
to found an NGO in Romania.
A lot of bureaucracy, yeah.
Yeah, a lot
I
of
suppose.
bureaucracy, and I can tell you from my own experience that a lot of people, they just came and told me, okay, how are you gonna do this? You know, Africa is so far away. Why would you want to do something there? Then the typical traditional question I heard every time: why do you do something there? There are a lot of people in Romania that have the same needs. But I got used to answering all these questions the whole time and to not doubt myself and just go on with this plan. So this was the decision I took, I think, June last year. In December, I had all the papers ready, but in November, I was already in Kenya at the school in order to meet the teachers, the director, the kids, and everybody there. So the first time when I was there, we decided what the projects will be that we will be working on. You know, it's difficult. It's a school with over 520 children, and the needs are very diverse. I have a long experience of volunteering in Romania, also years, and I know what poverty means. But there, it's something different. And I know it sounds like a cliche, but you have to see it in order to live it and to understand what's really happening there.
I don't think it's a cliche, and I truly agree with you that generally we are in a misconception. I mean, we have the tendency to think that we've seen them all because we have a TV, we have internet, and we have seen everything. But actually, you cannot compare what is happening right now in Africa. I wouldn't know because I was never there, but I know people who were there and told me the same thing. I mean, the poverty is at a different level, a totally different level. I mean, as far as I understood, and you will tell us this, if in Romania, the children who are poor, I mean, they are coming from a not very good situation, they are still somehow have access to a sort of education, a sort of information. But you can tell me further about that. Tell us.
Well, for example, I think the whole social and cultural context is totally different than ours, and we tend to judge things through our own experiences and through our own lenses, and this is why we get it wrong. Let's put it like this. First of all, you have a context there where education is mandatory for everybody, but school costs money. And you live in a country where there is no social system, you have no social help, you have no basically it's you, the resources of your family. And this brings families in the situation where they have, I don't know, 2 or 3 kids to decide which of them will go to school because they cannot afford all of them to go to school. Another example that I always give, it costs $1 a week to feed a child in Kenya. 5 days a week in school. So they eat for 5 days a week in school for $1. However, if we look at the situation in the school where I usually go in Madago Primary School, from over 500 children, there are only 200 who are eating in school because the rest of 300 cannot afford this $1 a week to eat there,
Yeah.
So when we think about poverty, we tend to see the poverty from our country, and the poverty from our country is, how can I say, let's make it abstract. You have a social category of people who are poor, they are not really interested in education, they don't really want to work, they receive some help from the state. And we tend to think that poor people are like this everywhere, but it is not like this. In Kenya, for example, I cannot speak for whole Africa, but in Kenya, for example, poverty is not necessarily a social category. You find very poor people who have extremely good education, who talk to you about novels and books of European writers. And it's like you look at them and you don't believe that someone who looks like this, literally, their clothes are falling off and they're full of holes. And they talk to you about, I don't know, classic writers, European writers. So this is what we have to change, the way we perceive. And in strong relation to this is their attitude. We tend to think that if NGOs in Romania help people, the beneficiary generally feel that they are, I don't know, passive people who receive help and they receive. The way I saw that the beneficiaries see this in Kenya is totally different. They get something but they are not a passive person who only wants to get. They learn that from the small resource that you have, that you give them, that they receive, they have to make something out of it. So the attitude that they have towards your help is totally different. And this is not because they are like nobler people, or I don't know, they're different. No,
I think it's a
but they know
cultural
how
thing.
to use the chance. It's not only a cultural thing, but they literally die of hunger. So the moment they receive a chance, they make a most out of it, because they have no other way. And this also gives you gives you the energy, because you see from the few resources that you bring them that they make something, that they try to turn it into something sustainable for them and for their communities. And this is where I also get my energy, because I see that with not so much help, with not so much money, you can really make changes that last over time.
I understand. Okay, you told me about challenges, and one of the challenges were bureaucracy. Were the people around you who are actually having this habit of giving you so many arguments not to do that, or so many questions to make you give up? What was actually the most challenging situation in your life related to this activity, or in your life generally?
I don't think that the main challenge is the fact, I'm going to relate it to this activity. I don't think that the main challenge is what people are telling me, because generally I'm the kind of person, if I decide that I want to do something, I expect it not to be easy. So it gets difficult to answer again the same questions. I'm gonna face this. This is true. It gets difficult, to answer the same thing. It's difficult to. You get tired of saying the same story over and over again to the people, even though when you say the story, they start to think differently about it. The challenges related to this activity actually were honestly not the administrative one. These are nagging, but they are small things in the end. Another thing that people told me but did not happen was, okay, you're gonna see that the money is gonna go away and nothing happened. This is also something that didn't happen. But the challenges are actually when I'm there. I remember I was last time there in June this year, and I had two situations where I didn't really know what to do, and the challenge was emotional. First of all is that I realized that from the 500 kids, you cannot choose whom to help. It's very difficult to choose in a manner that makes you emotionally and psychologically be okay with your choice. You cannot choose. Okay, you can prioritize, but it's very difficult. I looked around in a moment and I realized that the ones who are helped are the ones who are lucky. It's nothing else, and it's very difficult, to face this thought that, okay, actually their life depends on, I don't know, your will in the morning, or if they are lucky or not, or if they have a lucky star or not. So this was something that I had to think about a lot, how they cannot influence their life at all in so many situations, even if maybe they would deserve to have this chance. And I think the most challenging situation that I had was the fact that in June, when I was there, I did some workshops with the teenagers from there on sexual health issues, starting from menstruations, sexually transmittable diseases, consent, body shaming, bullying, everything that has to do with this protection, so on and so far. So the workshops went very well. I was surprised because, as you can imagine, it was, a cultural context that was different. A community that is poor and majority Muslim where I'm going, so I didn't really know what I was facing. Of course, I made my lessons very well, but I was expecting to find, like people or parents who would tell me, okay, what are you talking to our kids about, stuff like this. This did not happen. So I started the workshops and everything worked pretty well. But then one day we were in a workshop and we were talking about consent. And there was this one girl, maybe 12 or 13, and she stood up and she started to ask me what she should do if someone had made her do something she didn't want to do. So it became very clear to me very fast that she had been raped by someone. And in that point, you know, it happens all over the world. We all know this, you know,
Yes.
it's not like a reality that we don't know. But when you look at someone, you know, a young girl who has been through it, and she's looking in your eyes with so much dignity and talking about it so naturally, honestly, I didn't know how to react. So I was overwhelmed. Of course, I did what I could do in that moment. I talked about it very objectively, you know, we discussed it in a group. But I remember that after this workshop, we ended the workshop, I just went outside and I was like trying to catch breath, and I was asking myself, okay, what should you be doing now? So there are situations that are super challenging and in which you really do not know how to react. It's like it's numbing you. And I'm even thinking now about this, what can you do to make sure that this is not gonna happen again?
And that's a challenge, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not laughing right now, but it's kind of complicated to think like this, because if I would have been in your situation, most probably I would have been bursting in flames. I mean,
this was exactly what I was feeling, but you cannot do it in front of 30 or 40 girls,
true.
you know,
I
or
mean,
you cannot start crying, you cannot be angry, you cannot do anything like this when you are there. So you just have to stack up everything you feel inside and try to do the best out of it. But this was actually until now the most challenging situation that I had there.
Yeah. What should be done to consider it as being the best? And to be honest, as I said, I think you reacted really, really well, because if I were you, most probably I would have burst in flames. I mean, there wouldn't have been any logic in my actions at that moment, because this is one of the most tragic thing could happen to a child, one of the. And
that's true.
This is happening also in Romania, and this is happening, as you said, all around the world. And we cannot do anything, unfortunately, but you are doing something. And this is great, and this should be heard by everybody. And I think that you will tell us by the end of this podcast, actually, not how people to react in front of challenges, but when you decide to do something, do it as best as you can. Okay. This story was a bit overwhelming for me, and I wasn't there. Okay. I think that it doesn't have any sense to ask you which was the hardest choice you had to do in your life, because most probably this one was one of the hardest, especially that you are also a mother. Okay. Who made you like you are? I mean, who made you so decided and focused on what you want and made you an action person? And when I'm asking this, who inspired you the most in your life?
This is a question that my therapist has asked me like 2 or 3 weeks ago. So.
Welcome in HR. I'm from HR, don't worry.
Me too. I used to do HR for a lot of years. So yeah. I don't think that there is one person who has inspired me, but I think that in your life you get to have relationships or meet a lot of people, and maybe for years they are nothing special to you, but then one day they tell you something, or they show you something, or they act in some way, and you take the best from it. So I think that there are many persons who gave me like a bit of the puzzle pieces to make me who I am today. I will start, even though this also sounds like a cliche, as I said before, I will start with my mother, who has always been a very good professional. She's a doctor, she's a medic, and she was now she's not working anymore. But I remember that all her life, in the detriment of her children, her profession was on the first place. But I saw that I learned in time that she was doing this with a lot of passion. So she has been a model for me for, you know, pursuing what you want to do with passion. Then you wanted to say something?
Yes, I wanted to add something, that even if when we are children do not see our parents properly, when we grow up, if we are able in those moments, because we also need guidance for that, we will see our parents as they are humans, and they are giving us some of the most important lessons in our lives. But you have to have the willingness to see them as humans, not as gods, and they should have done things in a certain way. That's why I wanted to add also for what you said, that you are who you are based on the entire population who went through your life, who remained in your life, because this is the healthiest way of seeing life generally, not picking some people, putting them above you, and when they disappoint you, your world will fall down.
Collapses, true.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this is basically the greatest greatest way of seeing things, a mature one, more, let's call it healthy, because I've seen people who had the tendency to put other people above them, calling them as their being their inspiration. And when a human moment came, they disappointed those people, and they basically didn't find any anchor, any stability to come back to what they were before, you know?
That's true. This is why I say it's a puzzle of many people. And since we were talking about this, I would also say that when it comes to the way I am and decisive, I think also my father, he played an important role, because unlike many
Yes.
fathers of our generation, especially in Eastern Europe, he has always related to me as an equal, and he always taught me that girls always have the same worth and rights as boys. And I think that this was also a very important thing to make me how I am today. And there are a lot of people. I remember also one of my managers that I had in my professional life, because she's like the perfect example of calmness in the storm, which I'm not, but I learned this from her, And last but not least, I get a lot of inspiration from the books of Isabel Allende. I don't know, she's a Chilean writer, and she writes fictional books, like historical in different places in the world, but her characters are always women who have to face a lot of hardship. And it's really interesting to see how the different persons or the different characters of her books have, like very tragic destinies that they always overcome. So I think she's also like a source of inspiration, even though there are fictional persons.
I don't want to be cliche, as you were saying that it's a cliche. Actually, the cliches are something real, which were repeated too many times. From my point of view, I would say that there is a huge power within a woman. So we can see when a child is treated equally with the adults, with the men, with women, because we are all humans. We can see now in you the determination, the willingness to go further and to thrive, of course. So this is the result of a healthy, I would say, education. Because the culture, we know the culture in Romania, how is it? I think we are heading to the end of our podcast, and I'm sorry for that, because I think we have a lot of things to share to others and between us. Tell us, what is your motto in your life? What is driven you? I mean, for me, for example, when something is not working properly, I have many mottos, so I don't have only one, but let's give the most representative one. When things become hard, when the situation is overwhelming, I'm always telling to myself, nothing is permanent, everything transforms.
Yeah, like whatever happens to you, let it happen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What's
I think
yours?
the motto that I'm guiding most of my life after is actually a piece of wisdom from Maya Angelou. And I've also put it on the wall in my office at work, and it goes like, if you are always trying to be normal, you will never know how amazing you can be. And I think that it is extremely important for us as human beings to understand that if we strive to fit in every time, if we're listening to everybody what they have to say about us, if we continuously live to correspond to the social norms, if we always try to please other people, I think that we will eventually be losing ourselves or a bit of ourselves. And I know that being bold and daring is a difficult thing, because along this path, at some point, you will probably be left alone, and you will feel alone. But I think that the feeling you will get after finally making it, and making it your way, and listening and staying true to yourself, is going to be so uncomparable to anything else, that you will be happy that you will have done this in the end.
And this is the life of a Stoic. And it's nothing wrong about that, being authentic. And being authentic, for some people, it's pretty hard to achieve. And it's not their fault. Let's be honest, it's not their fault. As you said, many people, many situations, and we have the tendency to choose what is easiest for us.
We have a
Generally.
tendency to choose what is safe, and safe is actually
Exactly.
corresponding to the majority.
Exactly.
This is actually a normal human trait that we all have.
Exactly. Okay, what is your message to the others?
I think that the message is exactly what I said before. I think that people should be true to themselves, and if they want to do something, they should do it. From my experience that I had in the last year, I realized that it's changed a lot in me, doing something difficult at times, or something very challenging, but seeing a result. And I think that it gives me, for example, and I think it would do the same for other people, it gives me an energy to go further. It gives you an extraordinary drive to listen to yourself, to discover what you want to do. This is also an important thing, because not everybody is so lucky to discover this, and to pursue it in the end.
Yes, and I would add that if you want to be bold, do it in your way. You don't have to be bold as others. You don't have to do things like others. Adapt. You can get inspired, of course, but adapt it to your personal beliefs, your personality, especially, because not all of us are I don't know, courageous, or that we have two categories. If we are talking into categories, major one, introverts and extroverts. So do it in your way, basically. Well, I think we reached the end of our podcast. Thank you so much for giving us such inspiring story. To be honest, it has given to me a bit challenge. It was a bit challenging to continue discussing after that moment, and it will remain there actually. I hope that everybody heard your message, and I hope that they will be inspired. I'm thanking you again for joining, and hope to see you soon in a new podcast. But we will be talking more, I hope, in the next future. Thank you all. As Timea said, trust yourself, as I'm telling to you every time. I know it's easy to say and hard to apply, but life is not easy. But this doesn't mean it's not beautiful. Thank you so much. Have a great day, and see you next time.
Thank you too. Bye.
Bye.